Highly gifted, my jacket's thrifted. Watch me get a pattern shifted, just acting different. Living in my minutes, I'm catalytic. That's why they love to jack the style like it's on a Civic.
So what if your education was designed just for you, fitting your needs and the market needs like a little glove? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here on episode 2 of Future Ready. So welcome. We're about to explore Boston's unique educational philosophy and how it transforms learning for students like you. Enjoy. And if anyone has ever been in higher education, you know, trying to find the textbook, trying to find the place to buy it, trying to get the money for it. It's a complex thing.
It's a real challenge.
It really is.
And that's part of our principle of saying, think about that curriculum process, that demand that needs to be generated, this design that needs to be unpacked, but also thinking about the first instance actually of the curriculum is think of the student. What's the profile of the student? What would that journey be so that you design ultimately meeting the market objectives for the graduate, but with the student's capabilities in mind in order to meet the student where they're at so that you can scaffold them ultimately to become the competent graduate that would exit in demand with what the market needs are. So the students don't have textbooks, and especially distance learners, they are reluctant to buy them because tuition fees are expensive. So 100%. in this mechanism, we know they have them. What's also, I think, part of that, it's a key determining factor for success. Because the moments when you are quiet at home, you have your textbook, you can study. If you don't want to study this weekend, you don't have to. So you're not reliant on going to a library necessarily, or reliant on waiting for somebody to pass a book on to you. And by way of practical example, the majority of us still study better with a physical book. So we have e-resources that supplement the program's resources. We have electronic libraries that do supplemental readings. But the core reading sits in a physical textbook. Because the majority of us still come from a schooling environment where we're not e-enabled, or we're not e-enabled in the sense that we're not fluent at reading voluminous text on half of the screen and making notes on the other half, or watching videos on the one half. So that tech savviness, until that hasn't stimulated 12 years of school education as a strength or a competency, it's still not a key competency for the majority of us as adults. So the physical textbook's also important. We supply the physical textbook. An example how this also played itself out during COVID, our distance learners had physical textbooks. So when lockdown,
so the libraries were
when the
closed.
lockdown, you sat with your books. And then it was simply for us to interact with you via phone or email on the LMS to keep prompting you, to keep supporting you, to keep guiding you at a distance, but we could still do it because you have your textbooks. So that is part of our value exchange. One can argue it's easy mimicable, but it doesn't happen. So that's one reason to I think the final part to me is in the broad value exchange. We open ourselves up voluntarily, regularly to call it third-party accreditation bodies or professional bodies to come and determine the quality. And that has two effects. The one is it makes us also think of the quality, and it makes us review ourselves more regularly and make enhancements and make improvements by extent, because we are investigating ourselves. It's a prompt to investigate yourself and take a review and make improvements. And ultimately that makes for a better graduate. It makes for a better learning experience, for a stronger and more robust and in-demand graduate. And the testimony is verifiable independently for the applicant or for the candidate. It's not just that we all enjoy the primary accreditation. We add, so for example, we have the British Accreditation Council as an additional accreditation across the institution. So that makes for a seamless verification to say your qualifications is internationally portable. South African qualifications are internationally portable, but this is a makes it more seamless, because we've undergone that rigorous process, and it's been testified of. So whether you have aspirations to enter the workforce with a global company or an international South African company, or whether you have aspirations for the European Union, the BAC accreditation facilitates that process more easily for you as a graduate. And then we have, at the professional level, we have the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants accreditation, which is key to entering the field. Obviously, there's a different competency set and different inputs required for those programs and those graduates. But all these various accreditations indicate that the value exchange, without having increased the tuition fees because of that, says the value exchange is deeper and the value exchange is more meaningful. And
we're being held accountable to that.
Yes. And
so it's not us just saying
so.
Because we've got a bunch of people that are looking at it and going continuously. We can guarantee that.
Exactly.
So as a parent, I suppose, as I hear that, I think to myself, okay, cool. That makes sense to me to want to send my child to a place where there is this robustness about it.
Yes.
Yeah. And that it means something to we're not only blowing our own whistle, but,
we can, it's been testified to, yes.
Correct. And various spaces, so not just one. And we're not downplaying the South African verification, but the point is that, to your point, it's check with 5-6 different things and let's see if we are balanced.
Yes. And hopefully more aspirations can be attended to by the strengthened value exchange. On another leg, why Boston?
This is not an elevator pitch, by the way. This is, but we're getting it. We're getting it.
I must be honest with you. I think there's a whole number of items I'm skipping or bypassing, but hopefully we'll resurface some of them later if necessary.
Sure.
Why Boston is, to me, is also a key consideration. Is we are accredited and we deliver in the open distance e-learning modality. And that means you as the individual have more agency to decide what will unfold during and post your education journey. And what do I mean by that? So in practical terms, the benefit is you can easily pick up part-time employment. Because you can reduce your study load a bit, or you can pick up full-time, or you can continue with full-time employment, and you can balance your study load according to your life demands. And life demands is not only employment, it's also family responsibilities. So open distance e-learning has the benefit where you can attend to your long-term aspirations, and you're not in a box to do it in the minimum duration. When I mean minimum duration, the traditional notion is, and we understand that, when you go to a contact institution, if it's a 1-year program, you're 1 year in and then you're out. And that's its purpose. Or it's a 3-year degree, you're 3 years in, and hopefully there's no supplementaries and you're out. And it's the function and it's its purpose. In open distance learning, you have double the time. So it adds ×2. So for a 3-year degree, you have between 6 and 9 years to complete. It sounds long and it sounds odd, but I'll walk you through the global cases and how it's been over the last 200 years, how ODL serves the public and serves these aspirations. So the implication is I can start full-time with a full-time load. I'll dedicate myself to full-time studies. I want to complete in 3 years, and my family is now supporting me to do that. They're setting me up, and I can. And the benefit is I can still travel. I can still do a bunch of other things because I have that flexibility. I'm not committed to a campus, to a classroom event. And if I need to slack the pace a bit, I can do so by a semester, by a number of modules, by years. And the example of the successes of open distance e-learning is tens of millions of people don't have the luxury to leave school and enter a full-time contact program because it's by way of geography, by reason of finances, by for many various reasons. And ODL has opened up the space to say all and sundry can participate. Don't be excluded for reasons that weren't in your control.
Sure.
Have access to the opportunity to study further. So now the statistics show, on average, graduates take between 5 and 6 years for a degree.
Okay.
But what we forget is they've also earned for that duration a salary, whether they were part-time or full-time.
Yeah.
We forget to also mention maybe it took them 5 to 6 years on average, but they also attended to all their family needs.
Yeah.
They raised kids.
Yeah.
They did many other things while they completed their qualification, and upon completion, they enjoy all the successes that other graduates do, plus the advantage of experience.
Yeah.
They add life experience. So this affords you the ability to, in many instances, that you can hang on to a job, because maybe your job is under pressure because you have not qualified post-school.
Sure.
So now you can continue with the job, give comfort to the employer that you're studying, and you can complete.
I mean, I was thinking, as you were saying, I mean, I could also have been working in the field that I'm studying in. So
Yes.
to your point, I've now got 4 years experience in that field.
Yes.
While still studying the theoretical. So
It's the beauty of it.
100%.
And
After
if
6
it's-
years, it's quite a different set of,
Yeah.
the set of values that we have.
Yes.
Valuable in the sense that I've been working and I've also been learning and.
Or rearing a family,
Correct. Having kids, yeah.
you name it, or attending to parents, while at home and studying. The other benefit is, of course, you could have studied something that you were really interested in, but you couldn't have entered the field originally.
Sure.
So you can now broaden your scope and your opportunities, and you can make hay with new industries that are born every day, new businesses, new fields. You can enter those spaces without necessarily having to sacrifice everything and having to commit to a full-time program.
Thank you for watching episode 2. So coming up next in episode 3, we're going to find out how Boston is broadcasting education. So beyond the traditional boundaries, how you can enhance your learning experience through this. So don't miss this approach and how it can revolutionize your studies in episode 3. We'll see you then.